Hey everybody, welcome back to my reviews. This is my episode 13, and it's also the overview of season 1 for Power Rangers, the audio drama. So we are officially one season down. They're currently on their 4th season, which is Power Rangers Zeo, but I'm going to treat that like its own entity, kind of like how it is on the playlist for YouTube. But if you're listening to it on the podcast, then it'll just go be a continuous thing, which is perfectly fine too. I still find myself listening to it on the podcast every now and then. More so because if I'm out and about on the road, I can still lock my phone and the audio will still play. Whereas with YouTube, if I lock my phone, the audio stops. I don't know if YouTube Premium, whatever that is, negates that, but it don't bug me either way. Karl puts the pictures up for the YouTube channel, so there's some like visual aspects that mostly come from the Boom Studio comics. For the newer stuff, it appears to be fan art. I don't know who it's coming from, so I can't speak for that. But I'm going to start, before I really get into depth of season 1, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I found the audio drama, to listen to it myself, to fall in love with it, and ultimately bring this to y'all. It was back in 2022, 2021, like the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. I got really bored and was like, maybe I can find a podcast to listen to. Yeah, I didn't listen to podcasts back then, but I figured I'd give it a try. And I found the episode 0 for the Power Trip. It's by Michael Hamilton and Nathan Marchand. They were planning on doing a podcast for each season of Power Rangers. Now this is, again, back in 2022, and as their season started in January of 2022, and they were talking about their love of Power Rangers, things they wanted to see different, things they wished the show didn't have, things that kind of added up to the Super Sentai that wasn't just the footage, things that were completely different from the Super Sentai. And then I heard them start talking about an audio drama of comparing like the first season of the Power Rangers and even the second season of Power Rangers. Well, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it had 3 seasons. This audio drama. And I was like a little curious, but didn't give it much thought. And then in March of 2022, they actually had a bonus episode, which they call Lightning Rounds. It was their episode 3. And for them, it was about an hour and 15 minutes for that episode of theirs. They had an interview with Karl Dunton. He is the creator, writer, producer, editor, pretty much everything but doing all the voices when it comes to the audio drama. And hearing his passion about why he started this audio drama, and little insight to what's going on in the season. At that point, they were up to episode 11 of season 2. So right before the finale. Episode 12 came out shortly after this interview did. Shortly after, because episode 12 came out the next month or something like that. But either way, I had 2 full seasons to listen to before I caught up to, at the time, the current, which would have been season 3. And I just loved the passion that you could tell he had in the writing of the scripts. The voice actors, you can tell, one, they either loved the show and tried hard, or 2, they're just good actors. They didn't care about the show, but they still did a good job. But I did skip over their like special end of season 1 like get together podcast. And you can also find it on YouTube. I will put the links in the description for the YouTube, and even for the Power Trip episode with the interview with Karl. Sorry. Listening to that's what got me interested into listening to the audio drama. And from there, I ventured off into Karl's other work. That's where I found the X-Men, and more recently, like the Avengers, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I haven't listened to yet, but I plan on. Alright, but yeah, and there's so much more stuff I haven't listened to that I plan on checking out. And when I get to those, y'all will see my first review, first impressions of those. Now with the Power Ranger stuff, I am still current up onto the Power Ranger Zeo season 4 episode 2. And every time I listen to it the first time, I'm alright. Lost train of thought. But when I listen to it the first time around, I'm gonna have that non-biased nostalgia goggles on, so I can sit there, listen to it, or if I catch the premiere, I can listen to it and chat in the open chat with everybody that's there. And it's really fun if you can catch the premiere. Even if you're not a person that wants to participate in the chat, but sitting there reading the chat, it's hilarious. We have fun. We pick, we play. Karl gets called out on stuff. Actors get called out on stuff. It's just funny. It's all in good fun. There's no negativity in it. It's just all fun. So if you can catch a premiere, whether it's on Power Rangers or one of the other shows, it's worth it. Whew. Alright, this is going to be a fun edit. This is going to be my first major true edit. I already forgot what I was talking about. I'm having to pause my camera a lot, take care of myself, and come back. My sinuses are not my friend today. The outside temperature dropped dramatically from overnight. So the high today here is like 47 degrees. Whereas yesterday it was in the 60s. But now to get to the meat of the matter, the audio drama itself. Again, there is a after season episode where the cast and Karl get together, talk about stuff, jokes, and this is actually my first time listening to that. I'm not going to cover that. But I recommend y'all listening to that. It's fun, insightful, especially for a first time listener. And they do talk a little bit about season 2, and they don't spoil anything, but they give a lot of hints. A lot of funny hints that actually have nothing to do with season 2. It's just a good, fun takeaway. And Karl actually explains more about why he started the show. And again, he does in his interview with the Power Trip. And hopefully when I can get things set up as more of a podcast style, I can interview Karl. I haven't talked to him about that yet, so hey Karl, when I get things set up, I do want to interview you. I have a different set of questions, and yes, I might have some of the same questions you've answered 100 times, but it'll be fun. But yeah, let's focus down, get to what we're talking about today. Season 1 Power Rangers audio drama. The season as a whole has 12 episodes, and there are no bonus side episodes in this one, but there will be in season 2. It definitely has a great blend of originality, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 1, with a sprinkle of 2 because Lord's Ed at the end. The Super Sentai, the Boom Comics, and it is a nice blend of everything. You can definitely tell it was written by a fan for fans. It is a nice, lovable tribute to what the Power Rangers could have been if it was around a PG-13 level for the TV shows, or I believe that's like a Y12 in the TV ratings. It's definitely not like the fan-made video that was R-rated. Now, Karl does take it to like dark points at time, but he doesn't overstep boundaries, which is really great. So it's still kid-friendly, and if you're listening to it and you have a young kid, you won't have to worry about pausing it for any reason. Because with the exception of maybe the one episode with Scorpina and Tommy, but that's like a 1-minute scene compared to hours. It's definitely kid-friendly. My oldest son has listened to some of it. I don't know how much he's listened to it, but he's listened to some of it. Mostly when I kind of forced him to listen to it while driving, but he loves it. He's a big Power Rangers fan, and I know by what he heard, he enjoys it. I'm going to get to the cast now. It was a very great cast. I'm going to go one by one with them. I'm going to start with the narrator. And listening to it, I thought there was maybe 2 different narrators at the most. But there's actually 4 different narrators. I know some of them, like all the other actors, they're all doing this on their free time. This is more or less a pet project. So they do have their own job outside of this. A lot of them are voice actors as it is. So you'll hear them in other stuff. I'm sure they have their listings on IBDM. So go check them out. If you like what you hear, go find them. Don't stalk them though, that's just creepy. But with the narrators, for episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, we have Sam. Please forgive me if I butcher any last names. But we have Sam Delverex. For episode 5, 9, 10, 11, and 12, we have we have Garrett Scott. For episode 6 and 7, we have Alex Justice. And for one episode, that'd be episode 8, we have Karl Terrell. Or Karl A. Terrell. Like I said, I only thought there was 2 different narrators for the whole series. They all do a wonderful job, especially when they get into like the fight scenes, describing what happens, narrating it so you can sit there and close your eyes, and they help paint that picture in your mind. I honestly can't say if I like one over the other because they're all similar in the way they do the narrating, at least in my opinion. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine. I do believe in season 2 they don't have as many narrators, so it's more consistent with the voice, but still. Sorry, I just got a notification from YouTube recommending me my own video. Oh, goodness. Alright, but now I'm going to start with the Power Rangers, and some of these names may appear multiple times, but when it comes to that part, I'm going to be talking more so about the character that I am currently talking about. We're going to go with Jason Lee Scott, played by Nick Erison. The boy sounds like he's straight out of Chicago. It is great. Now, I don't know if Karl first created the cities of where he wanted each ranger to be from, with the exception of Angel Grove, because that's a give me. Before or after he cast his actors, but like, Nick does a wonderful job. He sounds like what Jason on the, like Austin St. John, that played Jason. He sounds like a Chicago version of him, which is weird but really cool. I like it. Now, I will say from the season 1 that overview that they did for the Ranger voices, they all pretty much used their regular voice. Might have emphasized a little bit more on accents here and there to carry that one character through. But he did a great job. And now with sticking on the Jason character, of course, I already said he sounded like he's straight out of Chicago. Unlike the TV show and the comic books, Jason is from Chicago, Illinois. And sadly, yes, he loses everything at the end of the season. but he has that great leadership quality. He even stands up to Zordon a lot, which was definitely something not done in the TV show. A lot of times Zordon will not tell him any information, and in the TV show, they were all, okay, cool, we learned something new. But whereas in the audio drama, if it was something important that was told to them at a later time, normally Jason would be the first one to give Zordon crap about it. Which, I love how Karl wrote that in, because think about teenagers today. A lot of them don't let you buy with crap. They might be respectful in telling you how they see through your crap, but they're not going to normally let you buy with crap. Which isn't always a bad thing. And now we have Kimberly Hart. The character is from Angel Grove, California. And she's played by Catherine Black. And the way she sounds for Kimberly is a really good, like, not too Valley Girlish, like the stereotypical Valley Girl, but she has that nice little preppy tone that I feel like Kimberly normally has, as, of course, our first Pink Ranger. And the chemistry that she has with, like, Jason and Tommy. Sorry, I'm talking about the character, not the actor. It is crazy. With the love triangle. It gets more interesting in season 2. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the love triangle is still alive. Now, me personally, when it came to the TV show, I always saw, like, Kim and Jason's relationship as like a brother and sister type thing. I know in the comic books, like, Jason's with Trainee, and of course Kimberly's with Tommy. At least I think so. That's still right, because I am not caught up, so Tommy could be with Catherine by now. But either way, Catherine does a great job with Kimberly, especially when she argues with herself. I'll get on more of that later. But our next one is character Zach Taylor, our Black Ranger. He's from Edisto, New Jersey. So we have West Coast Rangers, Central Ranger, one of them, and then 2 East Coast Rangers. And Zach Taylor is played by Kenneth Tolles Jr. And he sounds very similar to Walter Jones. Now, you can tell there's a difference between the two, but there's a lot of similarities there, and it's really awesome. Karl did a great pick on casting him. He's got the smart mouth to him that really helps carry Zach's character on. Zach is hot-headed, smart mouth. He don't take crap from anybody, but yet he's very supportive of his friends, especially Jason. Those two have a great bromance. It's you can tell they care about each other. And then we got the brains of the crew, Billy Cranston, and he's played by, we've heard this name already, Connor A. Turrell. And yeah, you can't tell it's the same person as, especially in episode 8 when he's narrating the show. Him with a lot of the other ones, they have a great range of what they can do. And we find out that Billy is from Sacramento, California. And he is analogical, scientifical, and mathematical about all his answers. He, like in the show and in the comic books, he is definitely the smartest of them all when it comes to academics. He helps put Alpha back together when Tommy destroys them, or kind of shuts them down. He helps bring Zordon back. And in future seasons, he does a lot. It's like you can really picture him building Cranston Industries and becoming a tech billionaire. You can picture him doing that stuff. All right, and for our 5th Ranger, Trainee Kwan, played by Chloe Luo. I'm so sorry. I know I butchered your last name. I'm sorry. Now, I tried to figure out where she's from, the character. The only thing I could find was upstate New York. I could not find the city name. I don't know if that was me missing it or if Karl forgot to put the city in season 1. But yeah, Trainee's from upstate New York. That's all I got. Now, in the audio drama, she had a lot of great scenes. With, like in the Boom comic books, naming the saber-toothed tiger Kitty. But she also had like the scenes where she's talking with Kitty and she learns about the past Power Rangers. That the one who had the powers before her was Boy. And again, if you've seen Super Sentai, you know the Yellow Ranger was Boy. B-O-I. Which does explain why she doesn't have a skirt. Unlike the TV series where they just never addressed it. But it's really great. Chloe does a great honor. My mind just went blank on the actress's name, but she does her a great honor. I can see the actors looking down from heaven and smiling at this. She does great. I'm going to skip Tommy for a minute because there's a lot to unpack on that one. I'm going to go to Alpha 5, who's played by also another narrator, Garrett Scott. I don't know if he's using like something on a soundboard to help him with that voice, but I close my eyes, I hear Alpha 5. I can imagine Alpha standing in command center, his little visor light going like back and forth, looking at Rangers, and I hear Alpha. He is definitely the hands and feet of Zordon. And speaking of Zordon of Eltar, I like that part. They definitely kept the Eltar going, which was from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because they didn't have a Zordon. They had an old man who was their mentor. I cannot remember that wizard's name. But we have Zordon Altar, played by Kenneth Samore. And he reminds me more of like Bryan Cranston's Zordon with the voice, more so than our TV series Zordon, which Karl, when he wrote Zordon, seemed to embody both the 2017 Zordon and our original Zordon from the TV series, by instead of making him a wizard stuck in a time loop, or not a time loop, but a pocket time dimension that can be visible through the tube, he made Zordon a living entity within the computer that will project its head into the tube. Whew. And now I'm going to go to Tommy Oliver. We also know Tommy Oliver just moved to Angel Grove. And the actor who plays Tommy Oliver, oh my God. When I first heard him, I literally stopped the episode, went straight to the credits, because I was listening to the podcast. So I didn't see his name come up in the intro like you can on YouTube. I was actually taking my kid to school. Heard Tommy come on for the first time talking to Kimberly. And my mind was blown. I actually thought that Karl had Jason David Frank doing this voice. Just kind of aging him down, well, his voice down a little bit to match. But Joey Chirelis, dude, you had me geeking out. You sound like Tommy Oliver. You are definitely the embodiment of Tommy Oliver. It sucks your character's dead now. Again, no spoilers, because there are in Power Rangers Zeo. How they get that far with Tommy being dead, you'll find out. But Tommy Oliver is like the new kid in town for Angel Grove, and pretty much gets smitten by Kimberly, and she by him, which does form the love triangle. He butts heads with Jason left and right to begin with, and it really does impact the final episode with the way him and Jason were at each other's throats, and then the whole scene where that fight goes, and you could tell at the end. Sorry, I do get emotional about that, but the way they all formed together to make this team of Rangers. And the fun part is, for behind the scenes, they don't film together. They don't even always film at the same time. They record their voices from their own homes or studios. And, hang on. But yeah, they're at their own homes. They're at their own studios filming, recording, or not filming, but recording these lines. So they don't see the other person, and they're not even talking to the other person when they're filming these lines. And I'm sure they do a couple of takes to send to Karl. And the emotion all of them put into this, it's just, you can tell they enjoy what they're doing. Fans or not, which I believe they are all fans of the show, and like Power Rangers as a whole, but which does help a lot. It's like the 2017 movie. I know a lot of people give that movie crap, and a lot of people don't see it or feel it, but those actors loved Power Rangers. The writers loved Power Rangers. And we can see that they love the content, what they're writing, what they're doing. It all comes together. And Karl chose a very great team to do that. And sticking with our, in a sense, good guys, the last one I'm going to mention, because this comes to play a lot more in season 2, is the shopkeeper, or Master Cuckoo, also known by many names. He was played by 2 people, and I was actually a surprise to me because I thought it was played by the same person. When he was the shopkeeper that met Zach to give Zach his power coin, that was Kenneth Samore. Yep, Zordon played the shopkeeper. Now, this opens a lot of realm of possibilities, but no, the shopkeeper was not Zordon. It is Master Cuckoo. Excuse me. If you know Super Sentai, then you can picture where this is going. If you don't know Sentai, then you'll learn where it's going. I did. But when he comes back as Master Cuckoo, he's played by Rex Anderson. Ooh. I don't know a lot about this character, but he, as a whole, outside of the audio drama, but it works for me. Rex and Keith do wonderful jobs of playing the same character. Again, I didn't know it was 2 different people doing their voices. But that's it for the good guys. And now let's go to the dark side. I'm going to start with Rita. And remember, not Rita Repulso, but Rita Bandora of the Repulsal ship, or the commander of the Repulsal ship. She's played by Jeannie McGinnis, who does a wonderful job of portraying a self-reliant, self-preserving, condescending evil person. Now, I'm pretty sure Jenny's probably one of the nicest people in the world. But the way she portrays Rita is just great. And I love how Karl blended Power Rangers Rita and Super Sentai's Bandora to one person. And he even took her from starting out more reliant on technology and like modern equipment or sci-fi type tech equipment, because it's all from space, to looking into more of her family and going more magical. So that is a very great like evolution of Rita. And he keeps her grounded in a way by setting rules for her to play by and not crossing lines. Like, she is evil, but yet there's stuff that she won't do. Then we have everyone's favorite golden boy, Goldar, played by Jason Rivers. I do know for sure Jason has a full range of voices, because he plays stuff in the X-Men audio drama, I do believe, or one of the other audio dramas, and his character there and Goldar are completely different characters. But we have Goldar, and by the Super Sentai version, his wife, Scorpina, which the Saban series of Power Rangers never put them two together. I don't know, because they figured, hey, Scorpina looks more human than she does lion, monkey, sphinx. That, yeah. You know how some Americans can be. But his wife, Scorpina, is played by Catherine Black. Hence why I said what I did about Kimberly arguing with herself. So those fun little episodes where Scorpina and Kimberly are arguing with each other. I kind of would like to see Catherine's face. Like, is she recording both set of lines at one time and trying not to laugh? Is she just doing one character at a time? Knowing that they're played by the same person, it does make it kind of fun to try to think of how they're acting as they record these lines. And now we have, I'm going to do two characters in one for this one, because they're played by the same person. We got Finster and Kang, and Kang is also known as Squat. He is played by Thaddeus Glimmer, and no one can say those two characters sound alike. Thaddeus, especially for the Finster side of things, embodies that monster maker, the one that's truly loyal to Rita, even if he will talk behind her back and complain. He still loves Rita and will do anything for her. And then with Squat, who's famously paired with Babu. Sorry, it's my two. They're kind of my favorite when it comes to the villains. Because they remind me so much of Bulk and Skull. Um, but I like how Karl hinted at some of the stuff Squat is known for in the Boom Studio comics, that being a master of potions and poisons. Excuse me. But with that said, I'm going to go to Babu now. Now, Babu was played by 3 different characters. We got Edward Lutzley, Connor, Connor again, our boy Billy, plays Babu, and making his appearance in the show, Karl Dunton himself. But yeah, they all 3 do a great job of Babu. I only know by the credit listings, which is why I know there are 3 people playing Babu, because they all sound so similar together that I could not differentiate between who is on what episode without the casting list. And Babu, on his planet in the Boom Studio comics, was a great warrior. Granted, yes, he gets turned into a joke, because he's definitely nowhere on par with Goldar and Scorpina. And even in this TV series, he's basically just a joke. But him and his buddy Squat are, like I said, to me, they are the evil version of Bulk and Skull. And it would be great. I know I keep hinting at it, Karl, for a special episode of the 4 of them. I don't know. You can have fun with that. But it would make things interesting. And then we got our big bad Lord Zed, played by Omar Rose. He definitely embodies Lord Zed when it comes to doing the voice. It's great. I know I keep saying great a lot, but he does a wonderful job. And again, Karl just makes Lord Zed evil, maniacal, and very smart, which is what I wish the Power Rangers TV show kept with. I'm not too far in the comics when Lord Zed has made his appearance there, so I don't know the comparison there, or how much he took from the comic books. I'm sure there are some aspects of Zed he took from the comic books. And I like how he leaves most of the description of Lord Zed to our imagination, with the exception of, course, the basic core inside out man with metal structure, like metal bones, holding all the muscle and everything together. And I'm going to go over some of the essential characters. Now, I know I'm going to leave out a lot of characters, and for those who I'd leave out, I am sorry. It's not that y'all didn't do a good job, it's just minor characters in this case, I know, get overlooked a lot. But we got Jonathan Hart, played by Rex Anderson. And he also plays the U.S. president. Why I'm mentioning the president is because he's going to come in to play more in season 2. But for Jonathan Hart, you can tell Rex definitely embodies the emotions of a parent. I don't know if he is a parent, if he is a father, but he has that demeanor and the way he plays Jonathan. especially when he's arguing with Kimberly and not wanting her to be a ranger anymore. Then we got Bulk and Skull, everyone's favorite duo that sadly only showed up for 2 episodes, but at the same time, we didn't need that full comedic aspect like the show used them for. And I like how Karl kind of took from the Boom Studio comic books about the two of them having a YouTube channel and playing around with that. But I also do like the fact that he doesn't exactly have them hunting the identity of the Rangers, even though it was because of them that Kimberly was found out by Rita. But Bulk is played by Karl. Oh, I almost said Karl. But no, Bulk is played by Connor also. So yeah, Connor plays Billy, Babu, and Bulk. He does a good job of embodying Bulk for the, like, 5 lines or less than 10 lines that he has for that character. And Skull is played by Jason Rivers. Yep, Goldar plays Skull, which is funny. But you can tell, even with them not being in the same room, they play well off of each other. And then another one I'm going to mention is the Saber-Tooth Tiger Zord. Please forgive me for butchering your name. Tennies Fanili. Having a voice to the Zord was a really cool idea. I know Karl got that from oh goodness, my mind is from the Super Sentai. Because in Super Sentai they were sentient. But I like the fact that Karl didn't make them full sentient, with the exception of Titantis. But they still had a voice when they were when the Rangers was driving with them. So they were like a non-sentient Jarvis. I know the Mastodon had his own voice actor. The T-Rex Zord used voice to text. And voice to text was used on some of the other computer stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go through the whole list on that. But everyone that worked on this project did amazing. There was a bit of audio issue in the first episode I talked about, where it sounded like when Jason and his friend was outside, had a weird echo. But that definitely went away quickly in episode 2. The audio was pretty good as a whole. There are some aspects I could hear a little extra reverb. I don't know if that was just from the editing, or if it was from the actual voice recording. But it's not enough to ruin any of the episodes when the little bit of reverb pops up. I know from working on independent film projects. Yeah, I know. Shameless self-plugging here. The audio can be a little tricky at parts. And especially if it's being rushed, which I don't think Karl rushed any of these. I feel like he does take his time to put out the best product he can. And with the show as a whole, it does skip a little bit on certain characters at times, like Trainee. Like, her story of finding the coin was lackluster, unfortunately, but it was still good to hear that she did hunt it down, find it in a junkyard. But sorry, my cat is preparing to pounce on me. But yeah, there are just some aspects, I know it's just hard to put in storylines. Like the legend Karl made for the Ranger coins. If I'm not mistaken, part of that came from the Super Sentai. Jew Ranger is one of the Sentais I actually kind of know about. Outside of that, with the exception of a couple of names and what season of Power Rangers they are representing, thanks to like Nathan and Michael for the power trip on that. I don't know much about Super Sentai, and up to like the Thunderzords, I'm behind on the comic books on those. So at least for season 1, I got the comic books covered. But I love how Karl is taking the brand, making the world, and sticking to the rules. Because a lot of fan stuff I've seen, they drop the ball on it when it comes to sticking with the rules of their world that they're making. Even Saban himself, especially for the first 2-3 seasons of Power Rangers, dropped the ball on sticking to the rules of the world you make. Because in Saban's, we got the Monster of the Week. We got Zordon coming up with weird stuff that he should have told the Rangers. It's like he pulled the information out of his butt. But the Rangers could have used it 10 episodes ago. And no one called him out about it. Except for maybe like 1 or 2 episodes. But it wasn't nothing major. I like how Karl makes this in the modern era. So it is in the like 2000s. And that he didn't stick it back in the 90s like others tried doing. And he just keeps it true to nature, which is really awesome. I feel like he has taken a good bit from what I know of the Boom Studio comic books, like the good, and he's held on to that, merged it with the good of the Saban's series, and little bit of aspect of 2017 movie that sadly a lot of people hate. I could talk a whole episode about that because I absolutely love the movie. I'll save that for another episode. I'll do that as a special episode. And definitely taking aspects of the Super Sentai, which a lot of Power Ranger fans that I know don't care about Sentai. So merging all of this together in like one big old pot, he made this great show for us to enjoy. I don't know what else to say about it that won't spoil future episodes. But if you haven't listened to it, give it a try. I mean, you listen to the radio going down the road anyways. Open up the podcast. Go to it. Check it out. It won't hurt. You'll love it, I'm sure. If you're not a fan of Power Rangers and for some reason you're watching this video, thank you. Check out their other work. I know there is X-Men, Avengers, Star Trek, Batman, a whole bunch of stuff. Just give it a try. You won't be let down. And with that being said, Season 1, Power Rangers audio drama, my reviews, is over. See you for Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 1, my Episode 14. Y'all have a good day.